you want, but yeah, you got it live. It says you're live.
Yes. Good morning, good day, good whatever it is, wherever you are. This is SmallBizDavid, and welcome to the third day of celebration of Global Entrepreneurship Week 2014. Global Entrepreneurship Week was an event that was started by the Kauffman Foundation in Kansas City, in the United States. I say that because we have somebody outside of the United States we're speaking with today. I didn't know about it the first year they did it. Actually, not a whole lot of people did. But as I learned about it from the second year on, excuse me, I have been a distinguished partner of Global Entrepreneurship Week. I've got certificates behind me here. And it's a great event. It's a great week for me every year personally, because it's a chance for me to step back, evaluate what I am doing, ask the question, why am I an entrepreneur? Why have I chosen this type of lifestyle for myself? I usually ask that question almost every day of the year, but especially during the week of Global Entrepreneurship Week. And I would venture to say that, the event has grown over the years, and this year over 150 countries around the world are participating in the event. There'll be over 40,000 events during the week around the world, touching the lives of more than 10 million people, both entrepreneurs and also folks who want to be an entrepreneur and get involved in the week to learn what it is all about from those folks who have done it for 5 years, 10 years, 40 years. And I venture to say our guest today, Russell James, has been doing it for pretty much of his life. Good evening to you, Russell, in Australia. This is the first time I've ever done an HOA with someone in Australia, and the challenge being the 16 hours of time difference there are. What this Google Plus world does to us. It's a 24/7 world. Somebody is always awake and doing something in Google.
Well, that's it. It's a good day from down under, isn't it? That your was it 3 a.m. in the morning, and mine at 6. So yeah, well done, David. Well done.
Well, now wait a second. It is only 6 o'clock in the evening there now.
Well, my computer's telling me 6:23 p.m. to be precise.
Interesting, because well, you just taught me something, because I thought it was 7:23 there. So I guess we're not 16 hours apart. I guess we're 15 hours apart. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, see, you've taught me something today, Russell.
There you go.
So the question I always like to lead with is, when was it in your life, and you can explain in that answer what actually you do in Australia. When was it in your life that you chose to be an entrepreneur? You realized, maybe you didn't choose, you realized that you were an entrepreneur, and then you went out and you acted upon your dreams, your hopes, your desires, and why did you choose that for yourself?
Well, can I not to turn the interview around, David, but can I ask you, what do you classify as entrepreneurial or entrepreneurship, or an entrepreneur? What's your definition of it?
Great question. I think you're the first one that's actually asked me that question, and it's my major theme of all that I do. Excuse me. An entrepreneur is an individual who, for whatever reason, decides discovers that they have something, a thought, an idea, a product, a service that they want to share with the rest of the world, and they want to share it because they believe it can change the world for the good. I don't think you would necessarily want to change it for the bad. And in that change, you're bringing value to the world, the marketplace, somebody's life, and it's a tough decision to make sometimes, depending upon the mindset of the individual. It's always been a very easy thing for me because I am very blessed that I learned at a very young age what it was all about because I had to. I didn't have a choice. I had to, and so the other part of the equation, and this is the challenging thing. People, for right or for wrong, they believe that there's extra risk in their life if they choose that path and they choose to bring that product, that service to the world. And it's that risk that often makes or breaks folks. I'm risk averse, so because I've been doing risk to me is a lifestyle. It's not a challenge. It's a lifestyle, and so we have challenges and we deal with them. We fix them. We make them better. We solve the challenge and move on to the next challenge. So life isn't about risk. Life is about challenge, and is that okay? Did I give a good definition there, Russell?
No, that's fine because when I look at this, I look at myself and I say, reason I moved into being an entrepreneur without really understanding that I was an entrepreneur was that I had to find something to suit me, and if it wasn't there, I created it. Okay, so I invented something. If it wasn't there, I made it so. Okay,
because
so to me,
you wanted to be there because it would bring value to your life.
That's it. And I know that value, to me, in my value, is freedom. Okay. Now, we all talk about this, and the part that I recognise as being an entrepreneur is that it doesn't mean you can sit on the beach and drink Mai Tais because you get a one-hit wonder or something.
Why not?
Yeah, it's all possible, but the realization is that when you have an entrepreneurial flair or an entrepreneurial bent, it means whatever you become involved in, it actually goes beyond being work. It becomes something you do with your life. Okay, so it then becomes, it's easy then to put in. One of my businesses is I've ran. Do you know? I don't know what it would be in the States, but we call it here shade sails. Here, it's technology that goes over playgrounds and off buildings and it's used for keeping sun off of large playgrounds or in homes at all. It's a.
Wow, I've never heard of that before.
All right, yeah. Well, it's you'd probably find it more to your coastal areas, but it's a big industry here for obvious reasons. And I spent 20 years plus running that business. And the reason I got into that business was that at one point there I was coming out of a serious illness, and all of a sudden I was into my late 20s and 30s, and with a bit of a history of being ill. So all of a sudden, I'm not prepared to go back to just being a hole digger for X amount of dollars. It just wasn't me. So I looked at an opportunity that was happening. I educated myself on it. I took advantage of what being a first mover was, and yeah, for over 20 years I spent in my business, and I used it exactly as that. I made it work. I started it, and to have a lifestyle that I wanted, even though I was working, I'd work just like any small business entrepreneur, I'd work my 12 hours a day, et cetera, and you'd be there at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, what you were doing it for yourself. You weren't working for the man. You had that freedom of time, and at the time, I was heavily into triathlon, and I represented Australia as a triathlete, and I was mixing the. I was also a single dad, and I was mixing that ability to have an opportunity as what it is, an entrepreneur, to build a business that suited my lifestyle. So that's how that's one of the businesses that I look at. So I always equate being an entrepreneur as being someone who wants to take charge of what they're doing to fit it into their lifestyle.
Perfect. And as I was listening to you speak, I can relate to so many different things that you said, and tried to relate them back to my life. I was a single parent for 7 years in my life. My boys were in junior high school and high school. I operated the business. My sons, for most of their life, and they're only 27 and 26 now, they've seen me operate a business out of the home. So they pick up some of that energy, some of that spirit. Now, neither one of them, both of them get paychecks, if you will, but they have that entrepreneurial spirit. They're marketing guys, and so that's part of the whole thing. We operate out of our home, so we've got that extra challenge. Where does our personal life and our business life, where's the line between them? Is there a line between them? And so you and I have been challenged with many of the same things in our lives. So it's and the other thing that I was thinking about as you were talking, I guess folks, and I'm going to assume that you and I are in the same age category. Folks at our age, I guess, are supposed to be thinking about
chickens. Where is it? Spring chickens.
Pardon me?
Spring chickens.
You are what you are. It's a mind thing. Totally a mind thing. They think about retire.
Mm-hmm.
And I certainly don't think about retirement. I am sure you don't think about retirement. I can just tell by talking to you, listening to you, we're not tired. And retire means you're tired and you don't like what you're doing. But you and I love what we do, and it's that love of what we do and that passion for what we do that says, it's not work. It's what we do. It's ourselves. It's an extension of our own beings.
And I'm finding these days too is that there's, I don't know how it is in the States, but there's this real push to become an educated person, and a real push to have the college degree. There's the real push to have the paper to get somewhere. And when I look at it now, it's like to me, I can't help but thinking of all those kids now that have HECS debts and paying down stuff that when I looked at it when I was starting off, etc. And yeah, look, if you want to be a brain surgeon or whatever, you will have to do X amount of education that's specific to that. But what I'm seeing now is that there is too much dependence on having the credentials before they even find the way in the real world. And to me, a lot of being an entrepreneur was just saying, well, and I think you mentioned it before, is what is the risk? Let's see how we can do it, and just go for it, and try it out. And what I'm seeing at the moment is a almost a generation that's being brought up with, oh no, stay with the system. We've got to have the policies, we've got to have the procedures, we've got to, and this is the corporate way. And what I'm seeing at times, and I've seen it in my kids, is that they've got this inability to be able to really just go for it without the piece of paper. They must have something to say. When this is the way it happens. Without and so many people are this, and you said it quite rightly, this risk averse. They're just scared, almost scared to try something.
To your point, why do you? It's a great question. Why do you go to college? Now, I'm probably one of the.
I was being a bit gentle with that, because I've had a lot of discussions with people, and it can be a can of worms. So,
well, in the States, and well, I'm sure it's pretty much the case around the world, not just in the United States. Schools of entrepreneurship, where entrepreneurship was the desired end result and the degree, they're relatively new in the United States. I don't think they're 10 years old. As a matter of fact, I have a good friend here in Cincinnati who started the Department of Entrepreneurship at the University of Cincinnati, and now in his case, he came from a family of entrepreneurs, so it was a natural thing for him to, as an academician, to create and make the concept available, make the choice, the option available to other folks. And being an entrepreneur, don't put too much. Don't put too much, and I'm not saying you, Russell, but don't put too much emphasis. What's an entrepreneur, and are you? You do it, and don't worry about what it's called. Just you have a passion and a love for something, and you need something for yourself, or you need something for the rest of the world. Just go ahead and do it. Don't worry about what it's called, and then put the pieces together to make it happen. It's a choice, and it's a beautiful message to send, Russell, particularly during this week, as entrepreneurs like yourself. You don't mind if I call you an entrepreneur, do you? That's a good thing. We share our passion. We share our stories of success. We share our stories of failure, and I hate the word failure. I'd rather than use the word failure, I like to use the word not so successful, not as successful. We share it with students because they're the future. They're our future. And in a sense, if you heard me on Monday or listened to the very first Global Entrepreneurship Week HOA that I did, I read the Entrepreneur's Pledge. And you and I, because of our years of experience, we are obligated. We are obligated to share our stories for the future, for the younger folks, so that the whole thing moves on. Because entrepreneurs move this world. I don't care where you live. It's the ideas, it's the spirit, it's the strength, it's the energy. We make things happen. And if there weren't us around, things just wouldn't happen. They wouldn't happen. And entrepreneurs who then take their idea and create a small business that maybe is going to be a large business someday, but they take the step towards a small business. We provide jobs. We've created a job for ourselves, and we provide jobs for other people. Small businesses in this country are responsible for 70+% of the jobs in the entire country, and so it's a very, very important part of the formula of the process.
Well, just small business in general, and to be an entrepreneur, involved in small business.
It's I can't think of me doing anything else as
Mm.
as I look back on my life. And the other thing that I've been very blessed with, Russell, in my 40 plus years of doing stuff, marketing and sales has always been my general theme. But I've been able to take my passion for marketing and sales and approach it. Every 10 years of my life, it seems like, has changed, taking on a new direction with marketing and sales. But I started out as a publisher
Mhm.
in the 70s. In the 80s, I moved to direct marketing and specifically direct mail. I was responsible for millions of pieces of direct mail in the 80s. In the 90s, my energies were towards teleservices and how to, in that case, we were working on customer service aspects and using the telephone that we don't use very much anymore, or the way that we used to use it. And then in 2000, I started to learn about the internet and the power of that technology and that communication tool to do whatever it was that we're doing. So I've been very blessed to be able to change it. But going back to your original statement that you made, that's what I wanted to do with my life. That's what I
Mhm.
wanted to do. So I just figured out how to do it. And
Mm.
and
Yeah.
and uh, I haven't made lots and lots and lots of money in my life. That money was never a driving force for me. What was a driving force was setting a goal and objective and achieving that goal and objective. That's how I measure what it is that I've done with my life.
Mhm. And I see this. You mentioned new technologies, and I still put this in the role of how my perception of an entrepreneur, and it's this sort of category that's going around now like a digital nomad. You know, with the advent of the ability to run a business from a laptop anywhere in the world. You know, there's someone that's seen a great idea, okay, and they've used all the technology that's available to us today, and they've become an independent, location independent entrepreneur. I just think that is so great. You know, like I just hold my hats off to the ones that have taken that up. You know, they've taken, like you were talking about, you know, old school direct mail. I mean, I know a lot of marketing still has its roots back in direct marketing foundations, but here's this new style digital nomad entrepreneur that's taking the world on. It's they've realized that it's a global opportunity these days. You can find you know, a hot spot in Chiang Mai and hang out while your team is in the Philippines, and I mean that's getting things happening. That's a really hustling entrepreneur, and I just look at that, and I encourage any of the younger crew that's coming out here, just get hold of this stuff. Just work technology for all.
You gotta help me in a challenge that I have, Russell.
Mm.
um, our Dreaming with Entrepreneurs and Google Plus community. We're I don't know 650 members now, whatever, and a good many of those, more than 50% of them, live outside the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be able to channel that to what you just said. I want to be able to learn more. I mean, I can talk about small business wherever I am in the world. I don't have a problem with that. However, what my challenge would be, as I would do some traveling, would be to understand the culture of the country where I am, because that's going to have a dynamic on the way business is done in those countries. So I want to figure out how to get more folks living outside the United States involved in posting in the community, just sharing their ideas, asking the questions. You saw that I invited anybody in the community to do an HOA with me this week. You were one of the folks that
Mm.
responded to that request. But we have so much talent and energy in our community, and I want to feel like we're moving it forward. We're helping folks and making it happen.
Mm. Well, it's like any community within it. If you're encouraging someone, if they've got a great idea, go for it. Look, don't worry about what. Don't try and put a failure message before the cart, that cart before the horse. That ain't going to work, So you just have to dig in and just look. I don't think in any way that the fundamentals of business will ever change. You have a product, good idea. You have a customer base, okay? You sell your product to that base, okay? However you do it, that's what's got to happen, okay? And the entrepreneur fits rightly in there to take this product to the customer. That's the entrepreneur, the idea, and however it's done. It's changed through the ages, but that's where the entrepreneur sits, is in that whoever they are recognizes the opportunity, puts them together, and just comes out with the result. Sometimes the result's not pretty because you didn't get one or the other right, but that's what makes the entrepreneur, the ability to be able to take what they're thinking as a dream, a possibility. I love the idea of possibilities. That's, to me, that is also a qualification of aging for me too. Now I'm approaching pretty close to 60 now, and whenever I stop thinking in the realms of possibilities, right, I'm getting old. And that's not something that's in my imagination at the moment. Even right now, you mentioned we're not in a retirement mode. Now, I've got this next business that we're starting, and what it will do, it'll bring me into another way of life. We're taking our we've this is my I don't know if you can see that kombucha tea and our lifestyle. We're developing our website of gluten-free, bake-free recipes that we're boxing up and putting out there, and we're taking it on the road, and that's my next entrepreneurial endeavor. Okay, and
is this a major announcement you're making now, Russell?
Yeah, well, I actually, it's interesting. I spent November last year. I'd spent 3 years prior to that, because what I did is I put my shade sail business on a bit of a back burner, and I wanted a bit of a change, so I actually got involved with a social enterprise, and I was in a management role there for a business that was developing work opportunities for socially disadvantaged people. And I spent about 2 or 3 years developing programs based on just lawn care and basic park maintenance and cleaning roles, right? Okay, and it was one of those things that I realised that because I had the opportunity of a lot of experience behind me, was that I realised that I could help someone that I was not directly involved in as growing my own business, but I still looked at it as another venture of mine, with still the same desires to see something work. Okay, so when I left that a year ago, I actually took I've taken almost a bit of a sabbatical year to work on some other things, right? But it was all involved in what I see as my wish to be, just using that word, an entrepreneur. Like I see something and go for it. And at the end of the day, it doesn't always have to be the monetary return from it, like those 3 years that I spent in the social enterprise role. I still got paid for it, etc. But it wasn't building a business to have a payday at the end of it, and sell it on. I got a lot of social growth out of that as well. And for my next venture, same again. It's not going to be a business that I'm going to hope to build and take public or something. It's another way that I'm going to go on with the rest of my life. I don't need to worry about having to, turn up from Monday to Friday for a paycheck. So I'm just in control, and that's what I want to do.
Once again, as I listen to you, I'm thinking about what's happening in my life right now. I've got about 5.5 years on you, Russell. So,
all right.
I'm a little bit further down the road age-wise, but 2015. Back to what your point was. 2015 is absolutely going to be the most productive year of my life. In the last 60, 90, I've been talking about, if you've been following me for over, it's about 100 days now. I've been talking about people thinking about what they are doing with their life today, specifically in business. Is your 2014 business meeting its goals and objectives? If it isn't, why isn't it? Do you need to change your goals and objectives for 2015? And I wanted people to start thinking about that about 100 days ago, so I start throwing it out there. You know what I found myself doing? I found myself evaluating what is happening in my life and where do I want my life to go in 2015. So I have set 4 major goals and objectives for 2015, and I'm going to achieve every single one of them. But I now have I'm developing the plan, and the plan, I'm into 2015 already. It's 2014 right now. Is the point that I'm trying to make? It's that what are your goals and objectives, and are you achieving them? And if not, why? And if you want to achieve them, what changes do you need to make? It's not brain surgery. It's pretty simple to just step back and take a look at it. I would be remiss, Russell, and we haven't talked about it all. On your bottom third, it says YouTubers. Tell me a little bit about YouTubers, because I might be one of your biggest. I don't know. I've got a lot of YouTubes out there.
Yeah, well, it's I should have put the other one on it there. I haven't got it set out properly, but part of the for me, continuing learning, especially if we're talking about marketing, etc., is that I realised the value of video marketing, and part of it is I look at YouTube now as being obviously one of the it's a really big social network as well as a video sharing platform, and with its connection with Google Plus or Google itself, that understanding YouTube is a really good marketing decision. And I'm a member of a meetup group here called Brisbane YouTubers, and we get together every couple of weeks, and we just see what each other's doing, and work on each other's because there's a good combination of people in this group, and some of them do video vlogs, and some do small documentaries. Some are comedians. So it's a good mix. That's what that's all about. I've still got that
part of your
last week.
Group virtually.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's interesting that I've been really investigating the live streaming aspect of YouTube and live streaming in general, And one of the worst things that we suffer from here is upload speeds. And unless you're sitting on the national broadband system, which is a bit of a joke here in Australia, you know, the upload speeds, I'm still under, you know, sort of 750s to, if I'm lucky, to get 900s, you know, and it just does not work for a good live stream scenario. But what I'm attempting to do is when we go to the meetup groups, I'll do a little half an hour or 15 minutes of a like YouTube live streaming, and set it up on the
Well, interesting enough, I've been live streaming for probably about for 6 or 7 years now. Before I got active in Google, I was live streaming on a website, and I have I had produced over 1,000 hours of content on that website. Small business and entrepreneurship, same thing I'm doing, but that was the way that I was taking the message out. I was doing a broadcast, and I had 20,000 followers that would watch me on that website, on that live streaming, and in 3 years had over 2.5 million views to what I was doing. So that was pretty cool. I do a show, one of my broadcasts one day, 11 o'clock in the morning, and at 3 o'clock that afternoon, same day, no notice, I get a message saying the website is going to shut down at midnight. Here I had all this stuff going on and no advance warning. The website is shutting down. So I said, well, what am I going to do? Oh, you know what I did the next day, Russell? I started doing YouTube. I started doing YouTubes the very next day. I was just taking my content, same thing, no change, and putting it on YouTube, and trying to develop a little bit with it. And then when Hangouts on Airs came along, it was just a natural place for me to. It was a no-brainer. Just do it, because it added some efficiency to the process. It added one more area that Google was going to be searching for information, and so it was just a natural thing for me. So I subsequently have about 800 YouTubes out there right now on 2 different channels, and every single day, without me doing a real heavy promotion to it, Russell, and this makes me feel good. Every single day, 25 to 30 people go and watch one of the YouTubes. I call it my video library. They just pull it off the shelf.
What content do you put up there?
Pardon me?
What content are you putting up there?
It's all about small business ideas, entrepreneurship. I read something that day that impacts marketing. I go and I do a broadcast on it. I've got 2 different channels, and they're poorly organized, but the content is all out there. But downloading them or embedding the videos on a web page, now we have the capability to really organize them and market them individually. And I mean, there's all kinds of neat things you can do for your business, and it's no big deal. It's not crazy. I do it myself, and I'm not a technology person. I do it myself. I used to do a YouTube, post it, detail it, and then embed the code on a web page, on my own website, on a web page, and in 30 minutes I had this whole thing going. And Google loved the concept of I call it the triple play of putting it on YouTube, and then as I did an HOA, it was live in my stream, in my Google Plus stream, and then taking it and embedding the code on a web page. And Google loves that. And it was so simple to do. Anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So one last thing, and you're ready to have a glass of wine.
That's a point that as a small business person. The use of video in small business for entrepreneurs these days is still a long way to go. I mean, they should be jumping all over it.
If they're not doing it, they're losing out to the folks that are doing it. Absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if old buggers like us can work it out, geez.
I'm going to ask a favor of you right now. Just listening to you and not realizing what your background totally. I mean, I've read a little bit about you, and I knew that you were. I'm going to create a new category for you, Russell, and we're going to call it the free spirit entrepreneur. You seem like a free spirit. I'm doing, as I told you, a digital video book. I just made up those words. We can identify with all three of those words. I'm putting them all together, and I'm in the process of putting it together right now. And I'm going to do it all year long in 2015. Every month, I'm going to add a new part, a new segment of the book, and the first one will be published in January. And I would be honored if you would be on a video marketing team that I have created, and we'll do an HOA. I don't know if you know Terry Leigh Britton. Do you know Terry?
Yeah, he's actually he turned me on to the open broadcast.
Yes. Well, Terry's on the team. You probably know the name. You probably know the name Scott Scowcroft.
Yes.
Scott's on the team. I've known the two of them for a long time, and they're on the team. So we're going to be developing a whole video marketing chapter, if you will, within the book. So I would be honored if you'd be a member of that team.
Oh, look, I'd be honored to be included there.
The problem we're going to have is you living in Australia. We're going to have to figure that one out. Because
I get so jealous when I see Terry's vision that he's recorded. Like his stuff is just beautiful and crisp. From he's
a master at video technology. He's a master.
Yeah, he's got it all dialed in, isn't he?
And then Scott with his taking an HOA and bullet pointing, if you will, creating nuggets and editing, and Scott is a master at that. And I love. Well, you have. I'm not going to let you say no. You are going to be a member of the team, and we're going to figure out how to make that happen. I know Scott's probably. He's probably on his way to bed right now. He lives in Pacific Standard Time. Terry lives in Eastern Standard Time like I do. I know he's sleeping. I'm up. You're up. So we'll have to wake Terry up and make it happen.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, done deal. All right. Well, we'll work it out.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking your time, Russell, to just share your thoughts. You represent the spirit of everything that I try to instill, to try to get people motivated, and that's really what Global Entrepreneurship Week is all about. And I want to thank you for taking your time to share experiences, and that's what it is. The stories we have, the experiences we have, those are the learning tools for the folks behind us.
Yeah, well, I thanks for the invite, David. And that's so truth, isn't it? All you can do is just encouragement, just encourage people to just go for it. I
will share with you after we're concluded here, Russell. I will send you a Google shared document of my thoughts about the book, and you'll see the other members of the team. You'll see some you'll know a lot of the folks, or you'll know of every single one on there. You'll know of because you've seen them in HOAs or whatever. So it's a really exciting project that I'm getting tremendous feedback from individuals. So I am honored to have you a member of the team, video marketing team.
Oh, I can put it on my resume now. That's terrific.
You can put on your resume and use SmallBizDavid as a reference point.
Done.
Well, thank you, and I want to thank anybody who. Well, I don't think there's anybody live with us. There is nobody live with us. Can you imagine that? There is nobody live. That's okay. That's okay, because back to the point of video marketing. Now we have a video that we can go out and market what you and I just did, and that's the excitement
Once it'll be there forever.
Of the tool. I'm not real. To me, folks who show up live for an HOA, it's not important. It's not as important as there'll be 5, 6. Well, in our case, there'll be 1,000 times more people watching this in the recorded fashion than have watched it in the live fashion. So
yeah,
that's okay. That's okay.
And the message gets. No, go for it.
I want to thank folks for taking your time, and please comment on what you've seen. If you have a question of Russell or myself, please don't hesitate to post that question, and it'll get to us. We would love to help you out with your challenges that you might be having, either in your existing business today, or if you are an entrepreneur who wants to start a business. Russell and I would be thrilled to help you get going in starting that business. Excuse me. My name is SmallBizDavid. Come back again. Thank you for your time today, and we will see you the next time, which may very well be the best time. See you then.